Lucky Al's not here in person. Put you in a chokehold.
It really is just like the best, the lead up to the fight, the training for the fight, showing up fight week, signing the poster, the modern day gladiator, the pride of Long Island, baby.
You ever have that desire to, make some money, do your thing in real estate, and then maybe eventually get into politics?
I don't know.
How you doing, Choicers? Welcome to another episode of the Millennial's Choice Show. Today, our guest, he's not new to the channel. In the UFC, he fought Khabib Nurmagomedov for the UFC lightweight belt. He is the pride of Ireland. He is the broker owner of Iaquinta Real Estate. I want to welcome back to the show, Raging Al Iaquinta. What's going on, my friend? Welcome back.
The pride of Long Island, baby.
Let's go.
Let's go. Yes. No, it's good talking to you again, brother. Good to see you. And thanks for having me on. Last time you were here in our office, and now I'm getting to see a little bit of what your office looks like. It's pretty cool, man. Really cool.
Yeah, we got to get you to come out here one day and create lots of content. But we loved it when we were in Long Island. That was a really fun trip. It was 2 days jam packed with interviewing, legend UFC fighter and former mob guys and all kinds of stuff. So we were in Jersey and Times Square. It was a lot of fun. And you were very hospitable to us. So we went to Uncle Frank's. We want to go back to Uncle Frank's.
That's it, man. That's it. And
so how you doing?
Everything's good, man. Everything's good. Just getting back in the swing of things. Catching up on a lot of business. I was out in Las Vegas for Merab's fight. I was out in Vegas for a week, and man, what a crazy event that was. The Sphere in Las Vegas. Merab goes out there and just dominates Sean O'Malley. Really, I was so happy for that guy. Somebody that really just deserves that and everything. He's just the best guy, the hardest working guy, the nicest guy outside of the cage, and just an absolute savage inside the cage.
Yeah. So Merab, when we watch Merab, like you're obviously in his inner circle, but when we watch Merab, like he's got that dog in him. He seems very tough, strong, durable, but he catches like so much flack. So I want to talk about UFC Noche, but in terms of the flack that he catches, like people sometimes things like, why is he doing this? Why is he jumping into, frozen ice? Or why is he showing that he has a cut on his eye just before like a fight with a deadly striker, a knockout artist? Like, do you think he catches too much flack, or do you think he does it on purpose?
I think he's just himself. He's been doing that. He's been doing that from day one. From the moment he stepped foot in the gym, if he had an injury, he went to the hospital, if he got stitches, if he got cut, if he broke his toe or his finger. This guy loves fighting so much. It's like a badge of honor. Anytime he gets an injury, and he just loves to show off, like that's it's like his just like a badge of honor for him. And that's how much he loves fighting. He caught a lot of flack from Dana White when he got cut, and he posted the picture of him getting stitches, and then he posted the picture of him taking it out. But that's just Merab. And I think the UFC has a big part in like marketing the fighters. And I think Dana's saying that this was stupid and blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, this is amazing. Like, that's the kind of guy you want in the UFC, a guy that just loves fighting. He's been doing this from day one. That's who he is. He's a fighter. At the end of the day, he doesn't care about a cut. He doesn't care about stitches. He went out there, and you saw what he did in the cage. So I think a little cut, I don't think Merab's he was not worried in one bit. He's going to go out there. If that cut was the day before the fight, he'll throw some super glue on there and get out there. He's an animal. He's a different breed of person. It's hard for somebody, Dano or somebody who hasn't been around that type of person. Like I would have probably thought the same thing if I didn't know him and I didn't see him all these years in the gym. But for Merab, it's just another day.
Just another day. It's a badge of honor. I love that. I love that. So you think promoters like Dana White, we obviously know he has a way of doing it. He's great at what he does, excellent at what he does and what he's built. But obviously he would want someone like Sean O'Malley to have the belt, right? Like we don't have to speculate anymore. Like that's what the promotion wants to see.
Well, I think that the UFC has so much power; they can really determine the narrative. I think I think Merab is 10 times more marketable than Sean O'Malley. I think that if the UFC put the marketing and um, the money behind really that marketing machine behind Merab as they do behind Sean O'Malley. I mean, you see what Merab's done on his own with his Instagram. He's built his Instagram. I mean, that's personality. I think he's just so much more real to the people and that resonates with the people. He's real. You know what I mean? Merab is just he's funny. He's just a hard worker. He's the American dream. That it like flat out moved here with nothing and now is the world champion. Didn't speak the language, learned English, the learned how to survive in the United States, and now he's running. He's running with it. He's really like that's what needs. If I think if everybody was like more like Merab, this country would be a lot better place. He's this. I think the UFC has the power to market who they want, and whoever they choose will be a superstar. And I think that he's now starting to do it, and he's doing it on his own. People are really getting behind him. The people love Merab. Obviously, yeah, everyone. Sean O'Malley gets shoved down everyone's throat in everyone's face by the UFC, and he's whatever. But there's nothing that he can do that Merab can't do. Merab's. I mean, you listen to an interview with Merab, he's that's personality. That's real personality. Like that's a guy that's been through some shit and has overcome everything and is now he's the real deal. You know what I mean? And you saw it in that fight. You saw who was talking shit before the fight and who was talking shit during and after it. Two totally different people.
The Georgians are making their way. You had Ilya come up first, and they work hard together, right? They train together as well, Ilya and Merab. I've seen that. I've seen that some footage, and now you got Merab. So
Yeah.
I love it. It's like UFC. It's kind of like WWE in terms of the characters, except the characters are real. Like you got this Russian, you got this Dagestani, you got this Irishman, you got this, New Yorker, you got this American, you got all these different characters, but these are real people in real fights. So I'm excited. So what do you say to, the people, Sean O'Malley and Chael Sonnen, and they're saying, and we're about to get Chael on the show too, but they're saying that rewatch that fight and Sean won rounds 1, 3, and 5. What do you say to those people?
Uh, Everybody that was there watching in the crowd, the Sean O'Malley fans, they were getting tortured by by me. And they weren't saying, "Oh, this is a close fight." They had their little their hats were on the ground. They at the end of that fight, there was nobody that thought that there was a shot that decision was going to O'Malley. O'Malley knew between the fourth and the fifth round, his own trainer said, "Oh, don't worry, Sean, this is almost over." Like that, there was never more defeated. That was just defeat. I mean, I don't know if you want to watch that back 100 times. I don't think there's one time where you say I would rather be O'Malley in that fight. I think he was really just demolished, and he was. Yeah, I mean his wrestling. He showed he was just not. He was just not. It really from the beginning of the fight. Um, his corner started talking to Merab. I mean, their corner, and Merab pulled it on them. Like he was trying to get in Merab's head, and I think that got in Sean O'Malley's head. He's like, "What is this guy doing?" He's like not fighting. He's yelling back at the corner, like that. That I think he was trying to get in Merab's head. That's not happening, and I think Merab pulled pulled it back and shoved it in their face and said, I think that was the start of it. Merab acting that way and like moving around and yelling back at the corner, that got in Sean O'Malley's head. I think it backfired on that big time.
It seemed like Merab fought very, effortlessly in a way. Like there was no pressure on him, and all the
Yeah.
pressure was on Sean. But actually, just about the coaching, real quick, because I want to get to the pressure, part of this, because you've been in some really big fights, and the biggest one was fighting for the strap with Khabib. So before we get into that, do you think that this whole thing with their coaches, like we started to see the clips where Aljo's fighting him, and you see Sean's coach go, "You gotta go, Aljo, you gotta go," and maybe Aljo did go because of that, and what happened. Do you think that like they lose points for that? Like they should be losing points for that, right? Or getting warned by the referee?
Nah, that's Aljo's not hearing that. First off, that had nothing to do with the outcome of the fight. That's like amateur. These guys, that guy, I really think like you saw the difference in the coaching in that fight. There's one thing if like it's easy when you get in fights. The whole machine was behind O'Malley. O'Malley was thrust through, had favorable matchups, even in his title fight. Takes the fight. He knew that fight was coming for months, even before Aljo fought Cejudo, or yeah, Cejudo, and then Aljo beats Cejudo. They make the fight the night of the fight. Like this has all been like manufactured by the UFC to get him to that point. This was the first real test he's ever had. I think he went his first title defenses against the number 6 guy who he already had a fight. He already has like the he already had the feeling of what was going to happen in that fight. This was the first real like test where it was on an even playing field. You know what I mean? Where both guys had time to prepare. You saw the difference in the coaching. John Wood, Ray Longo in there, and then you saw the other guy. The other guy was really just out coached. I mean, that's where you're going to go to. That's your tactic, is to yell to the other corner. It's like it's amateur. You see that in like high school gymnasiums, guys yelling at the other guy. Like it's like just like that's not. There's no honor in that. There's no skill in that. It's just and if you think that's going to work, if you think that's ever worked in the past, it's never worked in the past. It's never going to work. It just looks like you don't belong. It's not. It's not a good. It's not. That's not what this is about. It doesn't work, and it's more like trying to get the attention on yourself. He's trying to get the attention on himself rather than trying to coach his fighter to a victory. And it hasn't hurt him in the past, but I think that's because they've been getting these. He's fighting the guy Mutino's good, but that's who you're gonna fight. And then I don't know, who do you fight to get the title shot? It's like Peter Yan, but that was a tough. That was like I don't know. A lot of people don't think he won that fight, and then he's got a year off, and then he's fighting Aljo, who just fought like yesterday. You're going to defend your title against O'Malley tomorrow. Like, what the heck is that? So I think you put, and Merab showed what he's about, and he showed what you saw the difference in the coaching, in the training, you saw the difference in the fight. There's nobody that thinks O'Malley won that fight. Really.
I love it. I love it. We will hear what Chael has to say. I'm going to play him the soundbite and see what he says, but we'll see what he has to say. So when you fought Khabib, brightest lights, biggest stage, then you go into UFC Noche at 306 and you see the Sphere. And I was watching on your Instagram, we were talking and messaging each other, and I was like, this looks sick. Like, can you explain to us like the difference in the vibe and the atmosphere in the Sphere compared to a regular UFC event?
I don't know if I can. It was just that thing was crazy. That the screen is just like I thought I knew what it was going to be like. I thought I like could imagine what was going to happen, but it really was just like it was just crazy. It looked like every fight was in a different world. This the screen with the different backgrounds, and then in between the fights, it was almost like they made it. It was like a 3D without being 3D. It was wild. It was just that was crazy. And then even like it's just everything was the ring card girls had different outfits on every, and it was like traditional. Each one had different like a different traditional outfit on, and Mexican vibe everywhere. It was crazy. Um that place is just wild. The fact that I think they should do more there. I don't know how that they obviously have the contract that they have, and they I guess can't go there for a while, or maybe we'll see. But I think that place is just crazy. It was wild. Even just outside the press conference and the weigh-ins, doing it outside and having Merab and O'Malley on the Sphere, like going around it, like crazy, just crazy. Everything about it. It's like it's a whole different animal.
Yeah, it looks sick. It looks sick. We got to check it out one day. When it comes to real estate, shifting focus a little bit, you said you were in Vegas, also doing some real estate while you were enjoying the show. Is that right?
Well, I have deals going um, always, and yeah, just I'm on the phone trying to get as much done as I can from Vegas. Lucky that I have a great team here at the office, Iaquinta Real Estate, that is willing to help out when I'm away. We have like a really solid team when we're 17 agents now, I believe, up to
Wow.
17 agents, and just a different try to have a different mindset than all these other agents in the area. We work harder than everybody, but we're more tight knit. I think whenever an agent goes away, it's tough to really do business and go away, go on vacation. But whoever's in the area and in the office kind of picks up a little bit to allow whoever's away or out of the office a little more time to relax. So I have a great team here. Everybody was like helping out. Really, we do it all together, and it makes it enjoyable. And I know that these agents here have my back, and they know I have theirs. So it was I was working obviously, but also I was able to enjoy myself, which was great.
Nice. And so, are you ever getting any of these like UFC fighters, former colleagues? Are they ever contacting you, hitting you up and saying, Al, like, can you be my guy? Can you represent me? Do you get any business from the UFC?
Oh, absolutely. I've gotten deals. People that back when I was fighting. Back when I was fighting Masvidal, I got on the mic and I said, if you, oh no, Diego Sanchez, I got on the mic and I said, if you're looking to buy, sell, or rent, hit me up. And people did. People did. I've sold a couple houses just from that alone. Um, and then, yeah, I helped Merab buy one of his houses
Let's
in
go.
Long Island. So Merab's, yeah, he got a great property here. Still has it, income producing property. So he's doing great, and yeah, I love to help my kind of people, whether they are UFC kind of people, hardworking people that like to have a good time. Um, I always seem to attract good clients, so I never have a bad client. It's always a good time. It's like it's not work. I go, whether I'm selling their house or whether we're looking to purchase. It's like looking at houses with friends going out, and if they're not friends, they become friends very quickly. I'm pretty blessed to be able to work with people that I really have a good time with.
Amazing. So recently, the Feds cut the rates by 50 basis points. It was the first cut in a long time, I think, ever since COVID. And so we've been already starting to cut. We started cutting a little bit earlier here in Canada. And so, do you think, like, is the sentiment for you guys over there that the Federal Reserve is going to keep cutting rates? We're on a downward trend. People are starting to buy up real estate. Demand's picking up a little bit. Is that really the sentiment, or is it more like they're cutting rates now because we are in a recession or we're about to get into a recession, and so they need to cut rates to make sure that we have a soft landing? It's not going to be so bad. Like, what are you experiencing with, your boots on the ground there?
The rates coming down has definitely helped. It's loosened up the buyers a little bit. More buyers are coming out. They're seeing that monthly payment go down, and that's great. Which kind of, I think in the short term might drive the prices up a little bit. More buyers. The inventory hasn't really picked up. I think if the rates get into the fives and maybe low fives, then people will start loosening up as far as selling. Right now, everybody's holding on to their three, low four, even 2% interest rates. So there's not too much inventory, and you got all these buyers now. With the rates coming down a little bit, even more buyers, which I think initially is driving that price up a little bit. Is it's still crazy seller's market here. A house goes on the market, if it's priced right, it's going over asking price, multiple offers, waiving appraisal contingencies and inspections and just craziness. But and hopefully it does come down to like the fives, and if it gets into like the low fives, I think that'll loosen stuff up, and then more houses will come on the market, and that should kind of even stuff out. And I think that'd be great for our industry, our business as real estate professionals.
So it's interesting. You guys have been hot like this entire time, that market, seller's market, for the last 2.5 years, even a little bit longer. We've been like stalled. It's been buyer opportunity after buyer opportunity because the way our mortgages work, you can't lock in your rate for 20 years, 15, 25, 30. The max is 10 and nobody ever goes for 10. The most common one is like 2, 3, or 5. And so a lot of people, it had actually the opposite effect because when rates went up, we had the most aggressive rate increases in the Bank of Canada's history. People started to renew at these higher rates. So we're flooded with supply even right now. Even as we've been cutting, we've still been flooded with supply. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens in the next like 6 to 12 months in our market because they're starting to cut. We're seeing a little bit of an uptick, but we have about 6 months of inventory on the market right now.
Oh wow, yeah, that's totally different. I mean, I guess would it be a good time to pick up some rental properties and some investments on that end, right? Where it says the opposite here is hard. I mean, the numbers just don't make sense with the mortgage rates where they're at, and you find a property, and if you're putting a mortgage on it, it's like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, now is the time to scoop something up here. I think if you're in a good cash position, we might be at our bottom. We don't know. Inflation is down significantly. So they're probably going to keep cutting rates. That's the sentiment. That's what they're telling us. But you just never know. Like there's, so many elections going on. Your election is a very, very big, part of the entire world, but especially this side of the world. Canada, US are neighbors. So there's still a lot of volatility. Like a lot of people here are still in trouble. So we don't know, like, have we reached the bottom yet? Are we, is there still a little bit of way to go? We're not entirely sure, but that's so interesting that you guys have the opposite problem there. You have little supply and demand is picking up again. We've had so much inventory, but yeah, demand is picking up again. So we'll see how that plays out for sure.
That is wild. I didn't, you don't even think about that. So what is the deal with the mortgages there?
So let's say we buy a property, we apply for a mortgage. We can either get an adjustable rate mortgage. So whatever the term is, the rate can change up and down. Or we could lock it in. And when we lock it in, we could only lock it in for a maximum of 10 years, but nobody ever goes for the 7 or 10 year because the rate is just too high. So they usually go for like a 2, 3, or 5 year fixed rate. And that means it's like a phone contract. When it comes up for renewal, then you're going to get the rate that whatever the bank is offering at that time. So your rate is only good for those 2, 3 years. Whereas you guys, if you lock it in for 30 years, you have people, like you said, they're at 2% for 30 years. They're not worried about what the Federal Reserve is doing, right?
Yeah. So you get a better rate the shorter the term is for the mortgage.
Yeah, if you're comparing it to the 10 year or like a 7 year, the
Yeah.
shorter terms are going to be better priced. Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, I've never met anyone in 12 years that's done a 7 year or a 10 year mortgage. People don't even go for the five all the time. They go for three. Three is like the most common one.
Huh.
Yeah. So
Have
so
you
a
ever
lot of
seen
people.
somebody?
What's that?
Would you see anybody after 2 years wish that they would have gone longer?
Oh yeah, like in COVID 2020, we had rates as low as like 1.5%, 1.25, 2%. So a lot of those people they bought houses in 2020 because our market started to boom
Yeah.
summer of 2020, and
Yeah.
so they locked in for 2, 3, 4 years. But all of a sudden, the rates started to go up in 2022. So because they started to go up, everybody started renewing now, and next year they're going to start renewing at these higher rates. And that's why we have so much supply, because people are listing the property and saying, I can't afford it anymore. My interest
Yeah.
rates tripled, so it's
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting. Huh.
So it's a good
Now,
time for Americans to scoop something up.
yeah. Did they regret not doing the 10 year back then during COVID rates,
I
or was
honestly
there
don't
something?
even I honestly don't even think that most Canadians know you could do a 10-year mortgage.
Really?
Like that's how
Really?
like nobody talks about it.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's wild. That's like a totally different. That's like a totally different sport.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Crazy.
Exactly. So we're gonna see what's gonna happen. There's a lot of stuff going on around the world, and how you guys are feeling a lot of it too with this election that's looming. It's coming up, and
Yeah.
what's New York doing? Like, are you in touch with the politics at all? Like, what's New York doing? It's usually a Democratic state. I see Trump hosting rallies and events there. Like, is it changing? Is it shifting? What's going on?
He was here in Long Island. He did a big rally here on Long Island, and I don't know. I mean, Long Island's pretty red. You know what I mean? But I I feel like Long Island should be its own state. I really do. I think we're so different than the city and the rest of the state. But that's neither here nor there. Um, I don't see this. I don't see there being a shot. Trump says he's winning. He says he's winning this year in New York, but I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I think New Yorkers are fed up with the way things are going. That's for sure. The New York City is like a dump at this point. I mean, it's really gone to it's gone to hell. It's not safe. Um, it's yeah, it's not good. It's not good. But I don't know if that's going to change much. We'll see. The next month is going to get real interesting.
Yeah, real
It's,
interesting. When we were there, we stayed in Times Square. Like we were just a few steps away from Times Square, and every single day we saw the migrants there. We saw them lining up for the hotels. Like they across our hotel, across the street was another hotel, and they were getting placed there. They were getting rooms there, and I don't want to shit on New York. I proposed to my wife in New York. So I love New York. It's just, but it was a dump. Like it had changed quite a bit. And people might say, "Oh, it was always like that." No, no, like it's changed quite dramatically. Like one would be very surprised. Like I don't want to go back there if I'm being honest.
Yeah, no, it's definitely it's not good. I mean, they're doing the protest. There's like every day there's a new protest. It's like let's get some law and order here, can we? Can we give the police a little a little power? Like the police really need to just you know be able to assert their authority and not be worried about ramifications. If they obviously you know the police have in some instances gone a little overboard or done some things that maybe, but that's if you go to Dubai, there's no criminals. They just disappear. And it's a very safe place. It's very safe. Nobody gets out of line. Nobody steals. You could like leave your car unlocked. There's nobody stealing. And I think it's because people they respect the police, but also they might even fear authority a little bit. And here it's just it's like nobody has any respect, not even fear. Forget about it. They don't even have respect. And it goes both ways. It's the police have to earn the respect. I think the police should probably train a little bit more, be a little bit more competent. They could be a little bit more confident. I think confidence is key when you're a police officer, and but I think at the end of the day, the police need to be respected and even feared a little bit. If someone gets pulled over, license and registration, you're giving your license and registration. I don't want, but if you start talking back now, and out in the street, people are dumping water, they're beating up the cops, and nothing's happening. If someone lays a finger on a cop, they should be shot. I don't know. It's like I would never touch a cop because they have guns and I don't. So and it's just that's the way it should be. It's like a cop is freaking a police officer is like that should be they should be held at the highest regard. Obviously, they have to they have to carry themselves with a certain amount of competence and confidence. And I think it's really just right now. I think it's just out of whack. The city is just not where it's supposed to be. I think on Long Island, it's still it's still Nassau County is. I think it's one of the safest counties. It's one of the wealthiest counties in the country, and Bruce Blakeman does an incredible job with the police here in Nassau County. And I think that's why Nassau County is as beautiful as it is. It's one of the best counties in the country, and the police are still held in high regard. They do this. It's kind of like I don't know what they call it. It's like they drive through the streets in Nassau County. The police. There's like 7 police cars, and they just drive through, and it's like a show of like power. It's like we're here. The police are here, and they drive through, and it just gives it lets you feel safe. You feel safe. You see the police. You see the presence of the police, and it really is a great place to live. Nassau County is definitely not the city. People are moving out to Nassau County and Suffolk County in droves. You could do anything you want in the city, and you're out the next day on bail with this cashless bail or whatever they got going on. It's like a free for all. But you come into Nassau County, there's a little bit more law and order, and I think if the right people keep doing what they're doing, it really is just it's night and day. I think Nassau County, Long Island in general, needs to be its own state.
So you just said like if the right people keep doing what they're doing, it'll be okay. You're a competitive person. You're passionate about, where you come from and your country. You ever have that desire to, make some money, do your thing in real estate, and then maybe eventually get into politics?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I, that's no, I haven't really even thought about it that far, but I think that it is something that I'm very passionate about. I do love where I come from. I love Nassau County. I love Long Island, and yeah, I mean, it's something that I'm definitely passionate about. I think if you know, I definitely criticize enough, right? So maybe I put it, get put my money where my mouth is, and really start making some changes. I think, I'm definitely an advocate for the area, and I've done my fair share of nonsense in the area, and I think I'm kind of more definitely more mature now than when I was younger. But I've seen it from both sides. So yeah, you never know. You never know. It's definitely something that down the line I would entertain.
Where were you when you first found out that Trump was assassinated? There was an assassination attempt on Trump the first time.
I'm trying to. Yeah, I have. I was in the office, and yeah, I was here in the office, and I was like, I think Trump got shot. I told Andrea, the senior vice president of the company, I think Trump just got shot, and I think she didn't. She was right. You didn't really. You were like, she didn't really like believe it, and I didn't really. I didn't know. Nowadays you never know. I think I heard it on Twitter, which could be this or that, no matter what. But yeah, I definitely then kind of the rest of the day turned into like, what is going on? That was a wild thing. It's how does that even happen? It's crazy. But yeah, thankfully he wasn't an inch to the right or left, whatever it was, and yeah, definitely could have been uh, a lot worse. But that to it's yeah, that was wild. That was wild. That's something that I think in this day and age should never happen. And I don't know how it was. I don't know how it was. I don't know what. Yeah,
We could send missiles to, different parts of the world and accurately land them or strike whatever we want to strike, but you can't see the guy that's climbing up the ladder with a rifle and crazy. But there's been so much content out about that stuff. But then there was a second assassination attempt, and now we're leading up to the election. We're in the last like 40 days. You think there's going to be a third attempt? What do you think?
I sure hope not. I mean, I they it seems like they kind of nipped this one in the bud fairly quickly, and they right. I think this one got a lot less. I mean, press because they did find the guy and they got him out of there quick enough. But yeah, you don't hear the media talking about it too much. The media's they're not talking about um, they're not talking about it. But I think hopefully they have a good grasp on what's going on. I hope I don't know too much about like how that whole side of thing works, but now you see him. He's doing the rallies with the glass. Sometimes depending if he's outdoors or not or what's going on. So I think yeah, you live and you learn. But uh, what a beast, right? The guy's shot. The next day he's right back to work. I mean, you could say what you want, about whatever, but you got to respect that guy for his work ethic. I mean, a lot of people were. They say he was given his money and whatnot, but the guy has never drank alcohol. He's never smoked. He's never done it. He's always on and he's always working, and I think he's like a little bit of a narcissist, but I think it could help. Like he wants to be he wants to be known as the best president ever, and to do that, he's got to do great things for the country. So I think I think whatever he does, he wants to be the best at, and he wants it to be known that he's the best at it. And I think he's a strong character, strong figure for people to look at. And although he gets a little off the rails here and there. I don't think anyone will deny that.
But we all do. But we all do.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and that's what made him. That's what got him to where he's at. Now he's. That's what got. People were looking for something different, and I think the same thing. I mean, this whole stuff is crazy with the, I don't know. I could go on forever. Tampons in a guy's bathroom. Like, what are we doing here? Like, this is kind of getting a little scary with the women and men's sports. Men in the women's sports. Like, what are you, crazy? There's got to be like some some normalcy. You know what I mean? Like,
It's the
getting a little
fastest route to
scared.
the belt.
What's that?
It's the fastest route to the belt for
Yeah,
some
yeah,
guys.
yeah. It's a little, yeah. But I mean, I think that everybody needs to kind of come together and understand the differences in people without kind of definitely have don't not promoting some things. You know, we don't have to get a little crazy. You can kind of like be who you want to be without, you know, promote grooming. It's getting weird. It's getting weird in
Yeah.
some aspects, and I think there needs to be like a happy medium to where like people could be who they want to be, but don't push your agenda on anybody else. You know, let people make grow up and be who they want to be and work hard. I think that's the biggest thing is like working hard, and you need a little adversity here and there. I think a lot of people are very comfortable in making a big deal about things that we're not worried about lions and tigers coming and eating us. So we're freaking trying to create problems where there really shouldn't be. We don't have like we're really not in a war time, so we don't have to worry. We gotta like figure it out. It was like what do they always say? Tough men create easy time. Whatever that whole
Yeah.
saying is. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I'm just rambling at this point. But um, yeah,
It's all relevant. It's all relevant. I think the quote that you're referring to is hard times create strong men create good times create weak men create tough times.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think we're right at that point right now where it's getting a little to like the weak men. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
uh,
So you
things
think
could get scary. You know what I mean? You don't want
for
to. You
sure.
don't want to. You don't want to be too weak. You don't want to freaking. We gotta. At the end of the day, like it's a scary world out there. People get a little sheltered and a little. It's at the end of the day. If we go to war with some of these places, who would you rather be leading the war, and who would you rather have standing next to you? I don't know. Or yeah, we just got to stay strong as a country, I think, and really remember that at the end of the day, what got us here and what, yeah, just, I mean, the weak, they should be allowed to be weak, but they shouldn't be promoting weakness and, just, I think yeah,
Al, let me ask you this: when we're getting together with our friends and the guys are watching the UFC, the women are typically just doing their own thing. They don't want to watch it. But the guys are all like, I feel like every household or wherever people are watching the UFC event, everyone's pumped and you get that urge and like, you kind of want to fight and all that. But do you ever look back, or when you're in person, like UFC Noche was sick, are you watching that and are you saying like, that was me at one point, and like you get the itch to like want to get one more fight in, or like do you ever get that feeling? Have you thought about that, getting back into that octagon?
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. Is I'd be lying if I said that I didn't. Um, it really is just like the best, the lead up to the fight, the training for the fight, showing up fight week, signing the poster. Um, Really, just you're like you're a different breed of person, and people recognize it, and even what other facet of life could you have? Uh, you know, Jeff Bezos was sitting ringside, and I'm sure there was some part of Jeff Bezos wishing that he could do what Merab Dvalishvili was doing at that moment. Anybody sitting ringside, you know, the girls sitting ringside, they want to be with Merab. The guys sitting ringside, they want to be Merab. And there's nothing like that in the world where like, you're you're the modern day gladiator and a person that's just a different breed of person doing something that is very, very difficult to do mentally, physically, everything goes in. It really is. People say, what does it feel like to walk out to a fight? It's like its own emotion. You're you're playing the confident role. You're also like Merab was walking out there laughing and not laughing but smiling and high fiving people, but then also inside I'm sure he was feeling like a little bit of fear of not performing his best, or but confidence. And it's like its own emotion. And I think it's just the coolest thing in the world. And if I said I didn't miss it, that it'd be a lie for sure. But I'm so happy for the Marab and the team and the guys that are in there that are doing it now, because I had my time, and now it's on to the next wave of guys. And these guys have worked so hard to get there, and they deserve every bit of it. And it's it's I felt like I won that night. I felt like I was I felt like I was fighting. The next day I was like, oh shit, I gotta actually go to work today. Like I don't like I see Merab. He's like he won. He doesn't have anything to do the next day. I was like, oh shit, I didn't win. Merab won. But I feel so like I was so nervous going into that. It was hard for me to enjoy like the sphere too much, because I was just like, when people I know are fighting, like my good friends, and Merab's like a brother, and seen him just through his whole journey. It was like that was the craziest thing. And then when he got that first takedown, it was like, whoa, man, it showed a lot in that first round. And then from there he just kept going and just steamrolled through that whole thing. So shut up, Chael Sonnen. That thing wasn't even close. When you get out of here.
Hey.
It was
Okay.
watched the fight 500 times. There's no. While I was sitting in that crowd and I saw the Sean O'Malley fans, nobody was saying, "Oh, he won. This is a travesty." Even Sean O'Malley was clapping and gave it up for Merab. When you're in a fight, or when you're watching a fight, you know who is the winner and you know who is the loser. And there's nobody that watched that fight. You could go back. Listen, you could go back and watch a fight, and if you're watching it in a certain aspect, you can. And it's very hard in that fight, but you could still maybe do it. But if you're watching that fight, you know who won and you know who lost. If you can't get that guy over. And listen, if the fight would have went on, if that fight is a 10-round fight, it gets even worse. It gets even worse for Merab. Merab's like, I mean, for
For
O'Malley,
O'Malley.
it gets. Let's keep going, keep fighting forever, and we'll see what happens. Eventually, Merab's, So that I think that, at the end of the fight, Merab knew he was winning. O'Malley knew he had to do something big, and 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 Herb Dean was, I think, Herb's usually one of my favorite referees. I don't know what he was saying to Merab. It was like, the whole time Merab was doing action. Merab was going, and O'Malley seemed like he was kind of stalling in some positions. And when he's stalling, it's hard for Merab to open up. But yeah, I think you watch that fight a million times. Merab's the winner.
Well, like from us watching all the content, post fight conferences, all this stuff over the years, if it was a robbery, I feel like Dana White, especially knowing that's his guy, that's the one the UFC wants, in the post fight conference, he's going to come out and say, you got to rebook it right away. Or he's going to come up with some sort of spin to what happened. And that's not
Yeah.
what happened. So I think everybody knew. And yeah, man, I'm excited. I was excited for Merab watching it. I was like, wow, like this is great. And I could only imagine what you guys felt. You're so funny. I had to wake up the next day and go to work. That's hilarious.
Yeah, yeah. I was answering the phone the next day. I was like, man, I did, I did. Yeah, it did the amount of emotion and everything that goes into one of those fights, and the crowd that he was battling against. Those O'Malley fans, they're the worst type of people. Oh my god,
Why?
it was.
Why? It's the Gen Zs, right? It's the Gen Zs and the millennials.
Yeah, they're just not fight fans. You know what I mean? They don't really get it. They don't really understand. They think this guy was, I don't know. They think he's something else, but um, they didn't really give him they didn't give Merab respect. And I think it's just like this is what sports are like a microcosm of society. And when you have a guy like Sean O'Malley, saying, "Oh, I won. Oh, I got the belt. I'm fighting this." It's like this is the world we live in. This is what it's all about. Is like you have a little respect. It's people like Merab that you want to emulate. It's people like Merab that you want to promote. It's people that like Merab. If everybody in the world acted like Sean O'Malley, we'd have a freaking. It'd be just a weird place to live. But if you had a lot of Merabs, it would be. And I think everyone could be like O'Malley. I mean, look, he's very skilled. He's very very talented. But Merab is like that, and it showed in the fight. I don't care. You can't say you could. I don't know. If you look at a freaking, I don't know. If you look at something long enough, you can make it what you want it to be. But there's always one person that's got it. I don't know. Chael Sonnen saying that he wanted to. Chael just says things just to talk, like we're talking about him because he said something crazy. You know what I mean? He's like talking nonsense. You can watch that fight a million times. There's no rhyme or reason why he would ever think, especially being a wrestler. Like the guy got taken down. He did nothing. He landed one push kick in the fifth round. That was it. Other than that, a couple body shots, but Rob not even. There's nothing. Rob freaking steamrolled him, took him down at will, and just he was freaking. You heard him. He was kissing him. He was showing him who his
Yeah,
daddy was.
that was
It was
crazy. When he kissed him and the referee gave him a warning or whatever he did, like kissing him on his back. I'm like, why you giving him a warning? Like he's dominating the guy. It's part of the entertainment.
yeah.
I don't like. I mean, maybe I'm ignorant of the rules. Maybe there's something illegal there or shouldn't do. But I thought that was sick. Like he just showed like I'm dominating you, right?
Yeah. And he
Yeah.
got a free punch to the back of the head, and he couldn't do anything with it.
Yes, that was yeah. That was weird, but
Yeah.
I like what you're saying because I talk to Danny about it all the time, and I go, in our business, like you're creating awesome content. I saw some stuff you did with Aljo too. That was sick. Even for us, we're creating lots of content, but we're not gonna go curse. We're not gonna show like women. Like we're married guys. We have kids, family. We're not gonna really talk a lot about some of these things that it's just not us. It wouldn't be authentic to like who we are. And then
Yeah.
I get what you're saying though. Like more people should be emulating Merab because of his work ethic, how he conducts himself, his life, things like that. Do you ever think it's a little bit unfair that the bad stuff is being promoted so much and gets the likes and gets the views and gets the traction going, like because that's how our society is. We're such a degenerate society at times. Like, do you ever think it's a bit unfair that the hard worker, the honest guy kind of gets overlooked?
Uh, yeah, yeah. I don't know if it's even. I don't even know if it's that. It's just who the UFC chooses, to promote. No, I'm not comparing what I am in some ways, George St. Pierre to Marab. I think they're very similar in a lot of aspects, and George had Canada behind him, so it was a different. I think it was a different. Maybe they don't see as Georgia as like a target market or something. But I think he's got that whole country behind him. He's got a style that if you break it down and you educate the fans on you know on the sport of fighting, this is mixed martial arts where his takedown ability, like it really was like it's incredible what he does, how he sets up his takedowns, how he incorporates his strike. Like O'Malley was getting punched in the face, then he was getting taken down. Then if O'Malley did stop a takedown, he was getting punched in the face again, and then Marv went right down for the takedown. The amount of energy that it takes to shoot and shoot and shoot, and he's like a Tasmanian devil. and froze O'Malley. His game was, he didn't look like he had the pop in his punches. He didn't look like, and Dana said it, but I don't think Dana gave the credit to Merab.
No, he
That
didn't.
Merab does that to everybody. Merab does that to everybody. When there's a guy that's bouncing around and he's moving back and forth and he's level changing, you can't get the shot off, and you look slow and you look lethargic, and that's how Sean O'Malley looked, and that's how everybody looks against Merab, and that's how that's how it's been. He's just, that's what he does to people, and that's, I mean, people go in there and they have a game plan against knockout artists, and their game plan doesn't work, and people go out there against Merab with a game plan, and I'm sure O'Malley had a game plan. The coach had a game plan, but Merab, you can't get that, you can't get your game plan off when this guy is just a different animal. He's a different beast.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. Some guys get so much flack for how they fight, but it's not boxing where if you want to just watch a stand-up fight, like watch boxing, it's MMA, right? So guys like Merab or even Usman, like for a long time was getting flack. But then it's weird because then you go to like a Khabib or like an Islam, and when they're dominant, it's like, yeah, those guys are, the Russians, the Dagestanis, and it's like they're so revered
Yeah.
in what they do, but it's strange. How do you think it plays out with Merab and Nurmagomedov there?
It's going to
Tough
be
fight.
that's going to be an interesting fight. Can I don't I think Merab's tricky enough to where he gets it, and the longer it goes, the better it is for Merab. I think Merab can really expose his cardio in that fight. He's I don't think he's got bad. I don't think he's in bad. I don't think he's like a cardio guy. Whereas somebody that, like, you could be in the best shape of your life and you get in there with Merab, and you get tired. He's in your face. He's moving around. You don't know whether he's punching or shooting, kicking. He's got a different pace and a different level than everybody else. I think Merab's won his last 11 fights, and I think he's beat all kinds of styles in those 11 fights. And I don't think it's going to be any different in this one. He knows what he's up against. He knows he's got a very tough task ahead of him, and I think whatever he throws at him, Merab's going to be ready, and it's going to be the same thing.
Interesting. We've been talking for about an hour. Like it flew by. It flew by. You got to come to Toronto, man. One of these days.
Got to make it happen. I was in Toronto, many years back. Beautiful city. What is it? The Tower? What is it? The
CN Tower.
CN Tower.
Yeah.
Went up the tower. It was. I don't like heights, man. They got, like, I think, right, you can walk on like the glass over the
Yeah.
city.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know the glass, people walk on it and they don't fall, but my body just couldn't, like, it's that thing freaked me out. But you see, the city is so beautiful. It's very similar to New York City, a little smaller, I guess, right? But it's
Yeah.
just so clean, and the people are nice. It's a great city. I look forward to getting back to Toronto, hanging with you guys, and
Yes.
and seeing the city once again.
We're going to make it happen for sure. Do you want to leave anything, last thoughts, or where can people connect with you? The best way for people to connect with you? You want to leave that with our audience?
You're looking to buy, sell, or rent, contact me. And if you're an agent in the Long Island area and you want to be a part of the strongest, the best, the most caring team real estate has on Long Island and in the country, give me a call. We'd love to have some more hardworking and dedicated agents, like the ones we already have.
And the decision's pretty clear. If your broker of record went up against Al, he gets choked out every single time. That's all that needs to be said. You want to be on the winning team.
That's it. There's nobody that can compete with the agents we have in this office. I truly believe that. The kindest, the most caring will do whatever it takes to get the deal done, and it's showing. I think we're making our mark on Long Island. Just a year and a half into a year and a half we've been open now, and people are starting to really take notice. So I think it's only up from here. And if you go against us, you're getting the 1-2, boom, choke out, triangle, elbow drop from the top rope. Ah.
Better watch out when you walk to your car.
Yeah, well,
Better watch out at your open houses.
that would be the biggest mistake they ever made. We got the team training. We got everybody. Andrea, the senior vice president, she's got a mean right hand, meaner than she could sign her up for the UFC. Get out of here. We got our whole team is freaking. You want to put us? Person for person against the top brokerages in the world. We'll outsell you. We'll outwork you, and then we're nicer in some ways. But no, it's beautiful. Thank you for having me, man. I can't wait to come up and hang out with you guys. We'll get you back down here sometime. It's been great. Being on the podcast. Always a pleasure talking to you. So I really appreciate it.
Likewise, Raging Al Iaquinta. Thanks for coming on the show. Till next time, Choicers. We're out.